지금 7시 30분 사람들 픽업하고 있고요.
I don't speak much Japanese. I speak a little more Italian though.
Oh.
Yeah. And I've been told that my... Buongiorno, ciao. Come stai?
Molto bene.
Molto bene. Were you in Italy?
No, but I like languages.
Oh, you like languages?
Yeah.
Okay, so I play around a little bit with Spanish too, but
Muy bien.
yeah, muy bien. Sí, sí, sí. ¿Entiendes tutto? No, that's a lie. I'm gonna check and see what the waves are doing. Last week it was terrible. Nobody went snorkeling last week because the waves are so big. But we'll see what we can do today, okay? What's gonna help really a lot is when we go for a stop, if you guys could come back when I ask you to come back and keep it on time so we can get to our lunch stop early. And then the earlier we get to lunch, more time we'll have to spend at the beach. Okay? All right, let's get out of here. Anyway, where were we? Water, Mountain Dew, Passion Orange, and unsweetened green tea, or you can have Pepsi or Diet Pepsi with your lunch. Okay? Those are the drink options. So we're gonna head down the road here. We're gonna stop at the Diamond Head Lookout. I'm gonna sit somewhere and take everybody's lunch order who wants to order lunch. And don't worry, if you don't have cash, we will stop by Waimanalo Town, and they have a couple of ATMs there, so they'll be able to take care of your order. Over here on the left is the Waikiki bandstand. A lot of great concerts back in the day when we had a symphony and the Royal Hawaiian Band. But me, I'm a rock and roller, so I like the venue in the back the best. That's the Waikiki Shell. They just had the Doobie Brothers perform there about 6-8 months ago. And when I was younger, I saw Jimi Hendrix in there twice. I saw the Mamas and the Papas. I saw Ray Charles and B.B. King on the same bill. So it's a really unique spot there. You can order seats in the front of the stage there. I think it goes about 10 or 15 rows back. And then you can sit on the grassy area back behind the seats. And as long as it doesn't rain, it's a great spot to watch a concert from out on the grass. You can really just stretch out, get yourself one of those folding beach chairs and just kick back and relax. All right, we're at the end of Kalakua Avenue. This is the eastern end of Waikiki, and to me, this is the better spot to go to the beach. If you're stuck in Waikiki for a couple of days, come down here, walk down towards the beach here. It's real nice. And in Hawaii, you don't have to worry about walking along the beach anywhere you like. The beach is completely open in Hawaii. Nobody can tell you to get off the beach because it's the law.
Nice.
Even the hotels cannot close off the beach in front of their properties. If they do, call the cops because they know better. Right now we're on Diamond Head Road. This is where the moderately priced mansions are located. Yeah, moderately priced. They're only about probably, I don't know, 510 to 60, 70 million, somewhere in that neighborhood. Up here at the beachfront properties get pretty pricey. So back in the early 1990s, I was small-time contractor, right? And I did little jobs. I had only a crew of between 2 and 6, and this is one of the properties I worked on back then. This was owned by a guy named Chris Hammeter. Back in 1991, they were selling it for $33 million. Today, you could easily double that, probably more. Probably more like 75, 80 million. I understand it's about an acre in size, or maybe half an acre. I can't remember, to be honest with you. Right here is the Diamond Head Lighthouse, first built in 1899. The original concrete work on it cracked, so they had to re-pour it again. And today it's fully automated. It's on the historic register, and there is no lighthouse keeper that runs it.
This is Diamond Head Lookout. This was first stop. It was a surfer. Sunshine tour.
Called Shangri-La is located. Maybe you've heard of it. It was built by the former owner Doris Duke way back in the early 1900s. Doris was a tobacco billionaires. Can you imagine having $1 billion back in the early 1900s? You couldn't even spend that much. Well, actually, now that I think about it, my ex-girlfriend probably do some serious damage in that. That's a whole nother story, isn't it? Anyway, on this side road right here, this is Black Point Road here. This is where the late Jim Neighbors used to live. Who remembers Jim? Anybody? Jim Neighbors, Gomer Pyle?
Nope.
Really? How about Tom Selleck?
Yeah.
Magnum
Yeah.
PI? He lived on that road too, on that street. All right, let's see if you guys recognize this name here. Check out this house on the left here. Very beautiful. It's not beachfront though, but it's still quite lovely. They say this house belongs to Mr. Jackie Chan. Oh, yeah, everybody knows Jackie for some reason. They don't know anybody else, but
I love Jackie
everybody
Chan's
knows
movies.
Jackie. I know, so do I. What's your favorite Jackie Chan movie? You have one?
I think Shanghai Moon.
Summer Moon?
Shanghai.
Shanghai Moon.
Shanghai Moon.
Oh, is that what Shanghai means?
Shanghai is the city.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Shanghai Moon. Was that the one with the Wilson boy? What's his name? Can't remember now.
I forgot. I
I need to
forgot.
rewatch your movies.
Yeah. Well, you know, I do watch a lot of movies. Check out this house here. Tell me if you think that belongs on that street right there, huh? Now remember, these properties here on the right side, they're valued at $60 to $80 million.
Oh.
But that is one of the 11 properties that was owned previously by a guy named Genshiro Kawamoto from Japan. Genshiro was described as an eccentric billionaire. Oh, before I finish that, look down here. You see that? That's a public right-of-way to get to the beach.
Oh.
I don't know of any other place that has those, but Hawaii.
Oh.
Like I said before, you can't own the beach in front of the hotel or private residence, doesn't matter. So everybody must be given access to the beach, and that's one of them here.
Nice.
Anyway, so Genshiro was eccentric billionaire. He came here in the 80s and 90s. He bought 11 of these properties and went back to Japan and just forgot about them. And when the neighborhood board, they were very irritated, caught up with him, told him he had to come back to take care of his homes. Genshiro came back and instead moved 11 homeless families onto the and let them live there rent free.
Oh.
How's that? Wouldn't you have been like to have been around for that handout, huh? See this property here? It's roughly an acre in size. I'm told those lots are worth about $40 million, give or take. That's a lot of money, huh? 40 mil.
Oh, yeah.
Just for some dirt and sand. Anyway, that's Kahala Avenue. At the end of this street is the Kahala Hotel, formerly the Kahala Hilton, Kahala Mandarin, and now they just call it the Kahala. If you wanted to eat, do some fine dining outside of Waikiki, they have 3 very nice restaurants there in the Kahala. They have the Hoku restaurant upstairs, out of sight brunch on Sundays. So Sunday would definitely recommend that. And then there's downstairs the Plumeria restaurant. They got all you can eat curry on Wednesdays there. And then upstairs next to the valet parking is an Italian restaurant called Arancino's. I had my first taste of Wagyu steak, first and last. It was about this big. Both bites were delicious, I'll tell you, but it was like $100, so I couldn't believe how small it was. Come here. I love those feisty little dogs, huh? They want to fight with everybody.
Oh, so pretty. Pretty houses on the hill.
So I had a lady who did my tour twice. The second time she came back in December, she said, you know, Papa, I checked out the prices of real estate here, and your prices are kind of low, you know. And I said, well, really? And she said, yeah. She said, you said the houses on the interior here start at up to $4 million. I said, yeah, that's, you know, maybe it's a little bit old. You know, it's very old. Now they start at $4 million and they go up to 8. And I said, you know, I know this is Hawaii and I know we're expensive, but take a look at this house behind this heavy equipment on the left here. Look at the landscaping there. Isn't that beautiful? Now, would you pay $4 million for that? That's the low price, the low end there. Even this one here, nothing wrong with the house per se. Okay, it's not falling apart or anything, but would you pay $4 million for that?
No,
I don't think so.
I would buy something much better somewhere else.
Exactly. For a lot less money, too.
Yeah.
Who wants to live in this neighborhood at those prices? Yeah, man alive.
I'll come visit once a year.
But you come visit once a year?
Yeah.
Where are you from, Hector?
Santa Barbara.
Santa Barbara. About to pass by a halfway decent beachside restroom. Does anybody think they need to go pretty soon? Anybody at all? Don't be shy now, because okay, you're stuck on this bus. Keanu Reeves, Mr. John Wick. Yeah, that's his house.
One of my favorite actors.
Oh, beautiful.
You like Keanu Reeves?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. Plus, I heard he's a pretty nice guy. Do I have any Filipinos on board? Anybody? No? Alright, so maybe you heard the saga of President Ferdinand Marcos. This was the house he was living in when he died of a heart attack while he was here in Hawaii.
Oh.
Usually if I have Ilocanos on board, I have to stop and let them take pictures. Ilocanos are Filipinos from Ilocos Norte in the Philippines. My wife is from the Philippines, but she's in here now. You can rent a jet ski, buzz around the bay. You can do kayak and outrigger canoe paddling. You could do parasailing boat that comes over here and drags customers up in the air there. Or you could drop your deep sea fishing boat into the ocean right here. Come on, come on.
Mauna Lua Bay.
Mauna Lua Bay. They should have one here.
No worry, it's okay. No worry, it's okay.
It's incorrect. There's actually two blowholes on Oahu alone. One in Mexico, one in Australia.
One in Ensenada.
Huh?
Ensenada. Ensenada, Mexico.
Ensenada.
Yeah.
And there's one in Colombia, I heard. One in Samoa. So there's more than just three, but you know what's funny is you Google that up, ask them how many there are in the world, and it'll tell you three. And then they'll give you the names of it. And then if you ask them, is there a blowhole in Samoa? And not only will they verify it, they'll give you the name of it. I forget the name of it, but but then if you ask them again, how many blowholes are there in the world? And again, they'll answer only three. See that ridge over there? Yeah. There's a hike over there. We got a lot of flats over there. It's a hike. What's that hike called? Ka'ivi Scenic Lookout. You don't water enough, that's for sure. Now, right in front of us, if you look through the windshield here, right in front of us here, we don't have walruses here in Hawaii. So that was a little bit of Hollywood, the walrus thing. This is the Makapu'u body surfing beach right below here.
Good for beginners?
No, do here in the West. Now, they all lived on the Oahu Pua'a. And so what is that? Well, it's a piece of land that's based around a spring or a stream of water up in the mountains, and they would follow the water all the way to the ocean. And they used various parts of the land around the stream for daily life. In other words, the mountains where the pigs and chickens roam, the fruit trees grow, and then on the flatter lands, they would divert the water and flood it to make suitable grounds for their lo'is or taro patch. And they grow all the other vegetables that they need, sweet potatoes, yams, etc. And then all the way down to the sea was also important. That's where they built their huts, their hullies, and they went fishing because fish was the most important protein of the day. Now before I finish this story, let me tell you about this property here. It's getting very overgrown here. Right there, see that house? That's the old Rick Masters estate from the hit TV show Magnum P.I. Remember that one with Tom Selleck?
Yep.
That's where he used to launch his red Ferrari from.
Oh.
Anyway, the rumor is President Barack Obama bought the property when he was leaving office and didn't do much with it for a long time. Now they're building some kind of retreat or something there. Anyway, that's a rumor. So if I ever do find out something official, I'll be sure to let my guests know. But for right now, it's still a rumor. Now, right now we're in the area known as Waimanalo. And that's where we're heading for right now. Waimanalo is one of the largest ahupua'as on this side of the island. His guests, when they came over for a barbecue, because the two of them were party animals. So, at that time in Hawaii, there wasn't a lot of red meat available. There was cattle on the island, but the Kamehamehas controlled the cattle at that time, so they weren't quite sharing them yet. So Tom, wanting to have something a little different for one of his barbecues, so the story goes, got a hold of a whole bunch of rabbits, had his boys place him on Manana Islands. And what is it that rabbits are really good at? That's right, making baby rabbits. And before you know it, the whole island was covered with healthy, happy, hopping bunny rabbits. And whenever he wanted some fresh meat for one of his barbecues, Tom would send his boys out to the island. They would get as many as he asked for and clean them up, brought the meat by the house. And that's the way Manana Island got the nickname Rabbit Island. I'm told some of these ponies here are descended from ponies originally bred by Tom Cummins. Bellows Air Force Station and Marine Corps training area, guys. Also a pineapple stand or a piña stand. It's right in front of her store or just past her store. I'll show you where it is. I presume everybody took care of their ATM needs at Walgreens, is that right? But if you didn't, that Washerettes, right back there. That's one of these days, boy.
This is the Jamie's shop. Smell of what is this? Alright.
Brackish water, but usually it means fresh water. The word manalo actually means potable or potable. fresh water that is not polluted, clean enough to drink. You might have to boil it to kill bacteria, but it's safe. You know, Hawaii has some of the purest water in the world, they say. It takes 25 years for rainwater to trickle through and filter through the volcanic lava all the way to the center of the island where we have an aquifer down there. Each major island has a huge aquifer, and that's where all the fresh water kind of migrates to, and it just collects there, and that's where our tap water is taken from. Over here on our left there, that is the Olamana Mountain right there. Olamana, Mount Olamana. Mountain with twin peaks. That's what it means. And then right here is the Newtown and Country Stables. Newtown, believe it or not, has a rodeo arena in it. Obama used to go for vacation, so I guess a lot of people wanted to go down there and find out what the attraction was. But anyway, so this is my attitude towards Kailua. See, tour buses, no, but Women's Correctional Center, oh, that's okay. Yeah, they're even building a bigger annex there, so probably for the girls from Kailua. Over here, we have a very special tree right there. That's called the kukuina tree. Now, when the ancient Hawaiians came to the islands, they brought a lot of their native plants and trees with them. Where that tree originated from, I cannot tell you, but it did probably come originally from Tahiti or the Marquesas Islands. That's where the early Hawaiians are said to have immigrated from, but doesn't necessarily mean it's true. Now, back in the early days, it was thought that the Hawaiians and Tahitians and all the other Polynesians all drifted to Polynesia from South America on rafts made of balsa wood logs. We have since found out that is not correct. Both the archaeological record and a gentleman named Nainoa Thompson, who proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that the ancient Hawaiians were able to navigate. You see, this was the whole contention for many years, that the Hawaiians had no compass or sextant or navigational charts. So it was said they didn't know how to get around the Pacific. Well, Nainoa Thompson, a graduate of Kamehameha schools, took exception to that, and he spent his whole life proving the ancient Hawaiians do indeed know exactly how to navigate. He actually used that sailing system and navigated his vessel to hopefully clear around the globe. Now, here's some other trees we have in Hawaii. This is a pandanus or hala tree, and those are classified as canoe trees or plants, just like all the other things the Hawaiians brought. Anything the Hawaiians brought on their voyaging canoes, which included the wild hibiscus tree, the pandanus tree, sugar cane, 36 varieties, taro, probably hundreds of varieties of taro. They all brought all those plants with them on their voyaging canoes, and that's why we classify them today as canoe plants. Right over here, these shrubs right there, those are the wild hibiscus shrubs. Plants, trees, however you want to call it. If you let them grow long enough, they will develop into trees. The smaller wild hibiscus, the lumber, was used to make outriggers for the canoes the Hawaiians built. They would strip the bark off of the branches in long pieces and soak them in the ocean, and with a stick it would beat off all the rubbish, and underneath would be nice long fibers that they would twist into twine or fishing line. That's how they made it. Now, somebody was asking me about pine trees earlier. These are the Norfolk pine trees off the coast of Australia, the Norfolk Islands. They were brought here hundreds of years ago by the whalers who visited the islands. Ground, and you're a veteran and you didn't have reservations at the Punchbowl National Memorial Cemetery of the Pacific, you would have to be buried out here. The Punchbowl is pretty much full up. There's no more space for in-ground burials. Size, and it's really a work of art. The way they designed the whole thing, beautiful. They chose the sites very carefully. They only wanted shallow water, 3 to 5 feet deep, because they knew in shallow water, algae and seaweed would grow like crazy in the Hawaiian sun. Now take a look at that perimeter wall. We're gonna have to shag in a minute, a few seconds actually. That is a work of art in itself. Now they've modified it a little bit in modern times because they've changed it around. And I don't know if those people who are modifying it really appreciate the way the Hawaiians originally built it. First of all, they didn't have cement back in the days when they built that fish pond. No cement, no mortar. What did they do? They stood all of their warriors up from a source of rock, say in the mountains or the hills, and they spread them shoulder width apart from the mountain all the way down to the ocean. They would pick up rocks in the mountain 25 to 50 pounds and heavier, and they would toss them from one man to the next all the way down. Now, in the water would be a stone setter. He would tell the boys where to place the rocks. And what would he do? Since he had no cement to bond the rocks together with, he used living coral. And he put pieces of coral in between the stones. And the coral would grow and bond the rocks together. Then, to make their structure doubly strong and sealed, they put a second perimeter wall outside of the first. And then they put chunks of coral in between the two walls. And that coral would grow and it would bond the two walls together. Now you got a structure that's not only strong enough at the start, but got stronger and stronger as time went on. It was very brilliant. Now, the heart and soul of their fish ponds, they called them makahas. These were 5 by 20 foot channels that went right through the perimeter wall into the pond. Now, to the untrained eye, they just look like just like that, a channel going through the walls, but they serve a number of purposes. First of all, on the ocean end of the makaha, they would put bamboo poles about an inch apart. That way, only the little fish, the little fry would come in from the ocean, and they'd slip in between, come in, and what did they find? All the seaweed and algae growing in the pond. Now, obviously, we're talking about vegetarian fish. That's what's being raised inside of the pond. And they say, come inside of the pond, they would eat until they got so big and fat, they couldn't slip back out of that 1-inch opening. But why would they want to? They wouldn't, because they had all the food they could eat inside of the pond. So, when those fish finally got big enough to be eaten, all the Hawaiians had to do was wait for the incoming tide. All the fish would automatically gather inside of the makaha, and they would block off the inside part of the makaha with a big piece of wood or a net. And all they needed then was a spear or a long-handled net, and they could harvest as much fish as they needed for the day. It was a brilliant system. They never had to feed the fish. Mother Nature took care of all that with the seaweed and algae. They never had to restock the pond. Restocking of the pond happened every day automatically with the 1-inch opening. And how much easier could harvesting the fish get than waiting for the incoming tide and just blocking them in while they were trapped? It's a beautiful system. Scientists to kind of cajole everybody into trying the potatoes for the first time, but it didn't work until King Louis the 16th and his wife Marie Antoinette actually were little potato flour symbols on their gowns for a few years until, you know, what happened to Marie Antoinette, right? They cut off her head, right? So finally, potatoes gained acceptance in Europe and the rest of the world. And then it was in 1820, a guy named George Krupp, he had cooked some French fries for some of his guests in his restaurant, and they returned them. They said the French fries were too thick.
Had it over there at the store.
Look at it more carefully.
With the hook.
Looks like a hook.
Yeah, there you go. That's Maui's hook. And after I tell you about the ranch, I'll explain to you the legend of Maui. Over here is Kualoa Ranch House on the left. In the middle here is the visitor center. Now, they don't do as much business as they used to do here. This place used to be more packed, but I guess they're happy with what they got going there. The visitor center, they sell some of their free-range beef, their grass-fed beef, and also oysters from their Moli'i fish pond. They actually raise oysters in that pond to this day. Over here on the left is the Ka'ava sugar mill. Bless you, by the way. And the sugar mill hasn't seen action for well over 100 years. They discovered that sugarcane doesn't thrive well on this side of the island. Now, back to my legend of Maui. Maui was the way the Hawaiians, the ancient Hawaiians, told their grandchildren how the islands were built. It's a creation legend. In other words, little kids, we call them keiki. The keiki would be sitting on their grandfather's lap. The grandfather is Tutukani in Hawaii. And then, Tutukani, how islands made? How islands made? And Tutukani would look down and say, oh, Maui throw his magic hook into the ocean and pull island up one at a time. And that's what they told their grandkids. And then that was the one disappointment about the movie Moana, was they didn't really treat Maui, the character Maui, with the dignity that the Hawaiians expressed during that legend. So for a little while people did complain about it, but you know what? The kids loved the cartoon so much. I had to buy it for my grandson when he came to visit. He wanted to watch it so many times. He loved Maui and Moana. So what can you say? Great job on making something the kids love. Not so good on the historical aspect of it. Right here we have Ka'awa Valley. This is where they filmed the movie Tears of the Sun with Bruce Willis. All the action scenes were filmed back then. By the way, the Moli'i Fish Pond was the site of all the massacre scenes in that movie. Also, the Hukilau Cafe from the movie 50 First Dates was also built as a set on the Moli'i Fish Pond. And the movie Wind Talkers was filmed inside of Ka'awa Valley. So when Kualoa Ranch got out of the cattle business in 1990s, they went into the film and visitor industry, and that's how it's evolved since then. Their ranch manager, Mr. John Morgan, is a guy who spearheaded that whole effort, and the ranch is his legacy. So he takes running it very seriously, and the people that work there, he treats most of them like his family, because they are his extended family. Anyway, gang, we're heading down the road here. Right now I want to play you some music, so give my voice a little rest. This is a song. I'm going to play 3 of them from this gentleman here. He's one of the sons of Hawaii, and
Israel?
he is no longer living. Yes, Israel Kamakawigo'ole
What happened
is
to
the
him?
guy. Pardon?
What happened to him?
He died.
Oh, what?
Okay, it was a heart attack that was brought on by his excessive weight. He was pushing 600 pounds when he
Oh my,
passed.
what?
He was.
That's a big guy.
Unfortunately, him, his brother Skippy, and his dad, they all suffered from the same illness. And it was an illness, you know. That part of their brain that told them they were full evidently did not work correctly in their bodies, so they overate themselves to death, from what I understand. But he was an incredible composer and beautiful music. And I'm gonna play you some right now. I tell you, we all miss Israel, and we wish he was still with us. But you know, at the same time, it gives me a little bit of pride that I come from a place where somebody with a physical ailment like that still beloved. Nobody judged. This is Kahana Bay and Kahana Valley on the left.
Okay, Gabby.
Here's a song you might be more familiar with.
Someday wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind. Be where trouble melts like raindrops, high above the chimney top. That's where you find me somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, dream that you came to Hawaii, can't I? Well, I see trees of green and red roses too. I'll watch them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Well, I see skies of blue and I see clouds of white in the brightness of day. I like to dive in and think to myself, what a wonderful world. Unfortunately, they just butchered it 2 weeks ago. Really looks bad. Over here is Haula. They butchered this several months ago, so most of the red leaves are gone right now. Look on the left, you'll see a bunch of very dark red leaves. That is Haula. Haula. Now, as I told you earlier, the Hawaiians made outriggers from the wood of the hau, and twine and fishing line from the bark. But the Tongans, they'll take the larger pieces of hau and carve them into beautiful works of art. Tongans are incredible wood carvers. And then the Samoans, though, are the ones that are, those guys are just crazy. They will start fire with 2 pieces of hau, and I've never seen anybody else start fire the way they do. They'll take a 3-inch piece of hau, cut a groove in it about 18 inches long, and then take a skinny piece of hau, about 3/4 of an inch, sharpen the end of it, and then run it in that groove really hard, really fast, and start fire in under 70 seconds that way. It's amazing. And I learned that right here at PCC, or Polynesian Cultural Center. You know, PCC was started back in 1963 by the Mormons. Yes, we have lots and lots of Mormons here on Oahu. I don't know, it used to be Catholics were the largest group here. I don't know, they may have been overgrown by the Mormons. There are a lot of them today. Now, originally, they started coming, the kids started coming here to go to school right here at BYU. And that's why they built PCC, Polynesian Cultural Center, to provide employment so they could pay for their books, tuition, and room and board by working there, doing what comes natural to them. And so there are Samoan Mormons, Tongan Mormons, Tahitian Mormons, you name them, they're here. Also Chinese Mormons, Mongolians, Russians, Africans. I've seen every different race practically under the sun working there. Yes, Mexicans too. In the temple on Sundays, I found out I was very wrong. They actually go to Mormon church on Sunday. The temple is reserved for very, very special sacraments in the Mormon religion. They didn't explain all of them to me, but one thing that does happen in temple, my friend Woody told me, if you get married in the Mormon temple, the marriage is not just until death do you part. No, it is for all of eternity. All of eternity. So, you know, my wife is, she's always saying, oh, you know, Papa, I think we're soulmates, you know, because we get along really well. You know, her first marriage didn't go so well. So I said, you know, baby, if we get married in the Mormon temple, the marriage is not just till death do us part, it's for all of eternity. And she said, oh, that sounds really good. And I said, unfortunately though, you cannot go into the Mormon temple unless you're a baptized Mormon. And she said, that's okay, we can do that. I said, yeah, but sweetheart, if we become baptized Mormons, you can't have that glass of wine with dinner anymore. She said, forget it. For his friend, Kamehameha the Great, that was 5 cows and a bull. It turned out to be a very good bull. You see, in the next 20 years, the 6 head of cattle had grown to be a herd of more than 30,000. True story. So, right about then, Kamehameha's younger son, Kauikeauli, ascended to the throne. He wanted to get better control over the cattle because they were knocking over people's hullies, their huts, trampling their gardens. They even killed a number of Hawaiians. So Kaui, he had heard that some of the finest cowboys of that era were the Mexican vaqueros. That's right. So he sent for a bunch of them to come to Hawaii to teach the Hawaiian boys how to handle cattle. And at the same time, while they were here, they taught them how to do the rodeo. And that's why we have a rodeo culture here in the islands. And on top of that, they brought a very special word to Hawaii. They named the Hawaiian cowboys Paniolos. Paniolos. And although most modern day Mexicans have never heard of that word, it was derived from the ancient Mexicans that came here. Well, I shouldn't call it ancient, but from about 100 and some odd years ago. Anyway, I had a guy in the back of my bus. He didn't like what I had to say. He said, "What do you mean the best cowboys come from Mexico? I come from Texas. We got the best cowboys." And I said, "Sir, the period of time I'm talking about, Texas was still part of Mexico." Oh, he didn't like that at all. "What do you mean?" I said, "Remember Davy Crockett, the Alamo? We had to fight for Texas. Originally was part of Mexico." Oh, he didn't like that at all. So then I, when you say something dumb in front of Papa P, I have to always turn the knife a little bit, right? So I asked him if he knew who the champion bull rider in the United States was today. And he says, "No." I said, "Well, he doesn't come from Texas or Mexico. He comes from Brazil." I said, "From Mexico all the way down to Argentina. They're vaqueros, they're paqueros, and gauchos. All those different countries, they all been running cattle for hundreds of years. In fact, your Texans, most of them probably learned about cattle from the Mexicans originally. So let's give credit where credit is due." Anyway, I looked up in the sky and a bird shot in the eye. And the bartender says, "Well, that sounds gross, but it shouldn't have cost you your eye." And the pirate says, "Yeah, but it was the first day I got me hooked."
North Shore surfing waves. This for surfing spot. Beautiful. Wow.
Give you a good reference point. If you came across the latitude of the Earth, Honolulu is on the same exact lateral line as Havana, Cuba. But not today, but they've been known to get anywhere from 25, 30, 35, 45, even 60 feet high. Huge. Some of the biggest waves on Oahu can be found at Waimea Bay.
So that's not for beginners either.
This is where they held the in memory of Eddie Aikau Invitational Surfing Championship. Eddie Aikau was a lifeguard here at Waimea Bay. He was known to regularly surf 25 to 30 foot waves here. In 1978, Eddie hooked on with the Hokulea, Nainoa Thompson's vessel. They were going to make a trip to Tahiti and back. They never made it. Well, he never made it. The Hokulea capsized in the channel. Everybody was clinging to the overturned hulls all night long. The next morning, Eddie told the skipper he was going to get his surfboard and go get help. He jumped on his surfboard and took off. By midnight that night, the Coast Guard arrived, pulling everybody out of the water. But when they got on board the cutter and they looked around for Eddie, he wasn't there. To this day, nobody can figure out how Eddie's spirit got the Coast Guard to that exact spot. It was the middle of the night in 20-foot seas, and it was really ugly conditions. And somehow the Coast Guard ended up right there to rescue the crew of the Hokulea. After a 3-week-long search, Eddie's dad declared his son lost at sea. So every year now, whenever the waves break 25 to 30 feet and conditions are just right, they hold the Eddie in Eddie Aikau's honor, right here at Waimea Bay. I think they've only had 12 or 13 Eddies since we lost him in 1978. And every one of those events is spectacular. Everybody turns out for the Eddie. Would you guys like to hear my favorite Hawaiian legend?
Yeah, sure.
So it's the story of Ohia and Lehua. Now Ohia was a very tall, handsome, muscular Hawaiian man. But even though he was so good looking, the women would always swoon when he walked by. Ohia was a very humble, modest man. But as my mother told me many times while I was growing up, she'd say, son, it's not always a good thing to be too beautiful or too handsome. And she was right. You black-hearted sorceress, Madame Pele. Madame Pele was a world-class shapeshifter, and she was evil incarnate. Her heart was so black, it was blacker than the tars that make up the asphalt we're driving on. Unfortunately for Eddie though, Madame Pele was a world-class shapeshifter and transformed herself into a beautiful Hawaiian maiden. So the next morning, she tried to tempt Eddie. God, I keep saying Eddie. Well, I got that story stuck in my brain, huh? She tried to tempt Ohia, but Ohia paid her no mind. So the next day she tried again, and again the next. But Ohia, he wasn't buying it. No, Ohia was engaged to Lehua. They were to be married in 2 months' time. He only had eyes for Lehua. So Madame Pelly's anger sparked a little bit. This time, she decided to transform herself one more time. This time into the most beautiful woman in all of Polynesia, and sexy too. And the next morning, again, she tried to tempt Ohia. But Ohia wasn't paying her any mind. He really didn't care. So again, she tried the next day, and the day after that, and the day after that again. But Ohia remained steadfast and strong. So Madame Pelly decided to give it one last try, which she did. But again, Ohia paid her no mind. Except this time he turned to her and said, I know who you are, and I know what you're trying to do. But I told you before, I'm in love with Lehua. We're to be married in 2 months' time. This is the original Turtle Beach, gang, right here. And it looks a little rough. I don't think we're going to see any turtles here.
No.
So, when Madame Pelly tried that very last time, Ohia turned to her and said, I know who you are. And told her, again, you and I could never be more than just friends. Oh, when he said those words, Madame Pelly's anger exploded. She turned around and transformed Ohia into an ugly, twisted tree. And to add insult to injury, she planted him way up high on top of Mount Kaala in the Waianae mountain range. When Lehua found out she was broken-hearted, not only could she not go visit Ohia, but she couldn't even see him. He was so far up there. Every night, she cried herself to sleep. Right now we're traveling into what used to be Pineapple Land. Now Dole Corporation got started back in 1903. James Dole got here in 1898, started putting his plan together. He bought 66 acres of land up in the Wahiawa area and spent 5 years developing a plan, trying to figure out what crop to raise. 1903, he decided on pineapple and got into it full swing.
Lots of pine trees here.
These are all the Norfolk pines again. Now they planted them years ago when they decided to plant coffee plants on vacant Dole pineapple land. That's what they were going to do, and they would probably have a huge coffee plantation here, but somewhere along the line they picked up a pest called the coffee bean borer weevil. And the borer weevil gets inside of the coffee bean and bores holes in it and ruins the crop. They've been trying to get rid of it for years, but they haven't completely succeeded yet. The only treatment they have for them is to cut the leaves all off and cut the stem halfway down and let the plant completely regrow. And it's worked in some areas but not in others. Look to the left near the end of the Norfolk pines here, and you'll see the progress being made on the last. They got to let the thing rebuild, flower, and then develop beans. I don't know what stage they're at right now. Look at it. See how it is? Hopefully one of these days they'll be able to get rid of the borer weevil. I guess they don't know enough about it to use any kind of chemical on it.
La curva de Héctor dijo que nos iba a enseñar Héctor ya te iba a bajar todo esto. Pero yo le dije que iba a manejar, pero no quiere.
Now, if you take a look over here on the right, I think they started picking them already, but I think they got to make another pass. You'll see some young pineapples sticking up on these plants here. The next level up here.
No, yo
Or your laptop. Well, maybe your laptops. I think I could still sell those on eBay.
How about my credit card?
Oh, yeah. Credit card. Oh, yeah. Come on. Who do you think you're dealing with there, Hector? Anyway, gang, if you leave food on the bus, too bad. It's going to get it. There's a lot of homeless people around my yard where the bus is parked, so. And they're always hungry, you know that, right? They love macadamia nuts especially. So take everything with you, because if you leave it behind, you might not see it again. I don't know why there's so much damn traffic tonight. It's Saturday. It shouldn't be this bad. But the Poly accent is coming up pretty soon. If it wasn't for all this traffic, I'd be there already.
You just want to spend more time with us.
Yeah. Hard, okay? Alright, gang. Oh, finally we got off the this part here. And right down this road is Pier 10. So what cruise ship are you guys on?
Princess.
Gail? Princess?
Yes, sir.
And it's parked over here?
Parked
Usually
on
they
10.
parked at
Pier 2.
Yeah, Norwegian got 2.
Oh, Norwegian got 2, huh? Okay. I had Ballerdam the other day. They were at Pier 2. So I don't know. I'm gonna try to get you guys as close to the. I call it the barn. I don't even know what the hell they call it, but
If you can get us by the tower, that'll be fine.
I'll do my best. But remember, those security guards over there, they got their head up their hoo-ha. You know that, right?